Good afternoon. I'm Imthiaz from working in Flip Media as head of mobile development. I'm here to show you about how to develop a iPhone application. How many of you own an iPhone? How many of you would like to develop for an iPhone? It's okay. Before starting to go about the development process, I would like to say why would you want to develop for an iPhone? First thing is Apple has given us a beautiful SDK with which you can create applications very easily and you can deploy it to all the markets in the world. Second is so far Apple has shipped lots of iPhone devices, and even the marketplaces has like 200 million users with active credit cards. So selling your app is not a problem. Where to begin? What is the requirement for you to start developing for an iPhone project? Okay, first thing is you should know Objective-C. I will show you what is Objective-C. To begin with iPhone development, all the development is done in Objective-C. The second thing is you should have an Apple developer account, which you can register at developer.apple.com. Then you should have to download the Xcode. It is the environment in which you develop the iPhone apps. And with the Xcode develop IDE, you have to download the iOS SDK so that you get all the needed emulators, everything for you to test your application. You can have, if you have an iOS device, it's an added advantage where you can test your applications. If suppose you use heavy graphics or you use lots of data inside, you can check, a lot of things will work properly on the machine. When you actually deploy it on the mobile application, you will see a lot of problems. Mainly that is because of the memory usage. So I wouldn't say optional, if you want to really give a good application to the user, you should test with the least hardware possible. That is if you are targeting an application for iPhone 4 has the most advanced hardware, whereas the iPhone 2G has the least hardware. So you should always try to test it on all the devices possible. So you will get give a good experience to the users. And finally, you need a Mac. Yeah. So to do a development, the requirement is because all the software IDE works only in Mac, so you have to have a Mac. Yeah. So I don't have much time to go in detail about explaining all the topics here. So I'll just rush through the main topics. So I'll explain how a basic class looks like, how you can call a function inside a class, etc. Yeah. About Objective-C. Objective-C is an object-oriented language, and it is a set of extension to ANSI-C. It's there's a collection of libraries which is added to ANSI-C. So and it's which gives you the extra functionalities needed. And it has very easy to use in syntax. Some of them they will say it's kind of weird. You didn't hear, if you're new to this platform, they'll say it's weird. It's I have not used this syntax anywhere. But once you start using it, you'll start loving it. And main thing about to do, watch out for while you're developing for iPhone, you have to watch out the memory management. iPhone doesn't do garbage collection. So whatever objects you create inside your code, you have to make sure that it is destroyed properly. So memory management is very, very important, and you have to start using memory management from the day you start your project. Okay, this is how a class looks like in Objective-C. All the class files is split into two files. One is called header, the other file is called implementation. Here you have all the definitions of your class. It's you have your definition in one place and your actual implementation in another class, another file. What happens is, suppose you are a corporate company, you want to release some code outside. Okay, all you have to do is you have to keep this file open and give it to the developers. So the developers will know what exactly the class has, what are the function it has, and how the developer can fully get used the class. If you see the class, everything starts from the object NS object. NS object is a basic object from which all the objects are created from. So it's like I'm calling an object called rectangle. I'm doing a class, and I'm extending it from NS object, and it has some private variables, and it has some properties. This is how you define a property inside Objective-C class. And what happens is when you say property, what does is when the compiler is compiling the code, it makes sure the headers and setter functions are generated for the class. So, and this is the implementation class. In the implementation class, where you write the actual logic behind it. So if you see, I have written some functions here, and I'm writing the actual logic of the functions in this class. Okay? This is how you create a simple instance of a class which you created. This is like you create an initialize. If you see other languages, when you start initializing an object, you always say x equal to new of something. Here we say rectangle equal to rectangle allocate a new resource of rectangle and initialize the rectangle. Okay, and this is how you pass parameters. You set the parameters to the class, and this is how you call the function. So here actually you allocate and do some operations using the class, and finally once everything is done, you release the class. So this is how the whole process of class works here. If you see in iPhone, lots of design patterns are used. Like I'm sure in all the framework and languages we use design patterns, but most commonly used design patterns in iPhone is, one is MVC pattern, model view controller. The second is delegation pattern. A delegation pattern is like we have a main class which does some operations, and once it does some operation, it sends some signals to helper class. So you can, it's delegating some of its tasks to the other classes. So it's delegation pattern. Then target action pattern is like for every event, you have some code to execute. It's like you have a target. Suppose you want to click a button and some code is getting executed. That's target action pattern. Then observer pattern. It's called notifications. So it's like you have some notification things running inside. Let's say, suppose somebody is on the move and they're coming to this room and they see now the Wi-Fi is available, for example. So what happens is we listen to the network notifications. So once the Wi-Fi is available, it triggers a signal to the class. So you can capture this and start downloading some stuff. So I would like to do a small demo. Okay. I have downloaded and installed Xcode. How do you start? Is like once you start the Xcode, you will get the screen. You can say create a new Xcode project, and you'll see various different templates available. It's like there's navigation based. It's all like once you start in detail, like to learn about the framework, you will understand what is each one. So today I'm just to save the time, I'm just going with a view-based application. So I'm creating a view-based application. I'm just calling it as demo. And I'm saving this in the desktop. Okay. Once you create a project, that's the view-based application is nothing but a template. Once you select the template and generate it, create a project, you will get lots of files getting generated for you. If you look at this side, you will see the list of files which is used in the project. If you see, this is the main entry of the project. This is where the application gets initialized. In 90% of the project, you don't really do anything here. It's fixed. Once it's done, it is the application. Your application is initialized. You get control to UI application delegate. This is where your coding starts. This is the header of the class, and this is the implementation, and this is the place where the actual coding starts. So it's like once you create the project and if you execute it, you see a blank application. There's nothing inside it. So let's make it do something there. So, and if you see, this is a view controller. View controller is nothing but you have a view. To that view, you have a controlling class. So it's a controller class. So all the actions and procedures you write in this class, and view related things you design it here. Okay, I'm just going to do a small demo for finding an area of a rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to use a couple of sliders. And a couple of text. Okay, so what I have done is I've added 2 sliders and 3 labels. So, the label is to show the value of each slider, what it is doing, and okay, to make it short, I've made some snippets already done for you. It's like, so don't waste time and typing it again. So I go to the header class and I tell what are the objects I'm going to have in my view. Then I write, what I'm doing here right now is I just told that I am going to use 2 sliders, and I'm going to use 3 labels, and these are the properties for each slider and label. And I'm telling the compiler these are the properties that it has to generate the code for headers and setters. Okay. If you see this, I have copied the same code what I've used in the slides here, so I can use it on a live project. So this is the same code I've shown in the slide. It's like rectangle. It has the same variables, and it has same one function which gets the area. Now, if you see the designer, if you right click this, you'll see all the outlets which is there in the controller class. Remember we went to the class and we wrote some properties. All these properties is now available in the design view. All I'm going to do is I'm going to connect this label area to this label width to this, so length and width. Okay, then I'm going to connect the slider length to this, width to this. These are the properties I've connected, and this is the action I'm going to connect. This is like I've written a function for whenever there's a change in the slider, do some action. So what happens is I'm going to connect this on slider to this label, in the slider. Once I do this, it gives you different way to interact with that object. So I just say whenever there's a value changed, you do some operation. Okay, that's done. If you look at the code, what I have done here is If you look at the code, whenever there is this function called, I'm just trying to set the value of each label and trying to calculate the area of the rectangle and setting it to the area label. So let's execute and see what happens. So whenever I change this, sorry. So I have just the length and the width, and you get the area. That's the whole. I have not set the values of the slider. I can do it very easily. That I just tell the minimum value to be 1, the maximum value is 1000, and current value is 25. I can do the same thing for this. 1000. 25. If you look at this now, like you can set the value of the length, and this is the width. Once you change, you get the area. Okay. Sorry. Questions? That's how you do a simple application on an iPhone. I mean, I wish I could do more. Like, the time is very short here. I prepared 30 slides, then I did a rehearsal, then I reduced to 15, then I came to 10. So I hope I could do much better, but I'll be around here for another 2 days. If you guys have any questions regarding development, you can feel free to contact me, or you can contact me in any one of these ways. That's my email, Twitter, and my blog. Everything is there. Any questions?
Questions?
Do you know if Apple plans to port the SDK to like BSD or Linux or any other operating system?
Pardon? I didn't get you.
Does Apple plan to port the SDK to other operating systems, or is it just going to
No, it's only to Mac. There's no way you can do it from other platforms.
Thanks.
Other questions? Okay, great. Thank you very much, Imthiaz.